They say cabins by the lake are meant for peace and quiet. Mine was supposed to be a sanctuary away from the city, a place where the world slowed down, but not when the HOA was involved. Karen, the self-crowned enforcer of rules, believed even my lakefront property fell under her authority. She'd fine me for the length of my dock, the color of my shutters, even the type of wood stacked by the fire pit. But nothing prepared her for the day she stormed into my cabin uninvited, only to find me sitting inside with the state attorney general. I bought the lake cabin as a retreat. It wasn't part of the manicured suburb I lived in year-round. This was raw land, tucked away at the edge of a glistening blue lake. My wife and I used it to disconnect, fish, and sit by the fire. The cabin was my pride, built by hand with my father before he passed. But HOA Karen didn't see it as a retreat. She saw it as another fiefdom to control. Technically, a small lakeside HOA existed meant only to manage boat slips and shared trails, but Karen had clawed her way to the top of it, declaring herself the ultimate authority. It started with letters. Your dock railing does not meet approved standards. Your firewood stack is an eyesore. Your shutters are not on the approved color list. Most people ignored her, but ignoring Karen only made her louder. Soon, I'd come to the cabin to find warning stickers slapped on the door, notes jammed into the siding, even a bright orange final notice pinned to my mailbox. Then came the fines. $100 for the dock, $200 for the illegal shutters, $500 for non-compliant firewood. None of it was legitimate, but Karen waved her clipboard around like it was a badge. I didn't pay a dime, not because I couldn't, but because I knew she had no real power. The cabin sat on private land. She couldn't touch it, or so I thought. One rainy Saturday afternoon, I sat inside the cabin waiting for a guest. The fire crackled, casting warm light against the log walls. On the table sat folders filled with documents, maps, and reports. Today wasn't just another weekend at the lake. I had arranged a private meeting with the state attorney general about HOA overreach in rural communities. The attorney general, one of the most powerful legal figures in the state, was due to arrive any minute. That's when the front door burst open. Karen, her hair was pulled tight, her floral blouse soaked from the rain, but her expression was all fire. She didn't knock. She didn't hesitate. She stormed inside, clipboard clutched like a weapon. This property, she barked, is in violation of at least 7 HOA regulations. You cannot host meetings here without board approval, and I have reason to believe you're running illegal operations out of this cabin. I stood slowly, stunned by the audacity. Karen, you can't just... But before I could finish, headlights appeared through the window. A black SUV rolled down the dirt path, tires splashing through puddles. Karen turned, expecting reinforcements. Instead, the state attorney general stepped out, umbrella in hand. Karen froze when the door opened again and the attorney general entered the cabin. Karen's voice faltered for the first time. She quickly tried to recover, thrusting her clipboard forward. I'm with the HOA. This cabin is under investigation. The attorney general looked at her calmly, then at me. I gestured toward Karen. This is what I wanted to show you. Abuse of authority. Harassment disguised as rules. The attorney general set his umbrella aside, removed his coat, and sat at the table as if Karen hadn't just barged in. Let's see what we're dealing with. Karen puffed up, flipping through her clipboard. Violation 1, dock railing not uniform. Violation 2, shutter color unauthorized. Violation 3, illegal stacking of firewood. Violation 4. The attorney general raised a hand. Mom, are you telling me you entered a private residence without a warrant, notice, or permission to complain about shutter color? Karen blinked. The HOA grants me authority. He leaned forward, voice sharp. The HOA does not override state law. Bursting into private property is trespassing. Harassing residents with illegitimate fines is extortion. And filing false claims is fraud. Karen's face drained of color. I was just following the rules. The attorney general spread out the documents I had prepared. Photographs of bogus fines, copies of threatening letters, testimonies from other residents bullied into paying. He looked directly at Karen. What you call rules, I call abuse. And abuse has consequences. For the first time, Karen dropped her clipboard. The confidence, the arrogance, the endless power trips, all of it collapsed under the weight of real authority. The attorney general didn't arrest her on the spot, but he made it clear. A full investigation into the HOA was already underway, and Karen had just given them the final piece of evidence they needed. Over the next month, subpoenas flew like autumn leaves. HOA records were seized, finances audited, and Karen herself faced charges for harassment and fraud. The board, once cowed by her dominance, dissolved under scrutiny. Fines were refunded, bogus rules erased. Neighbors who had once whispered their frustrations now spoke openly. Relieved they were finally free, the lakefront community transformed overnight from a place of fear into a place of peace. As for Karen, she tried to spin the story, claiming she was misunderstood, but the stain of her downfall never washed away. Her face was printed in the local paper beside the headline, HOA president investigated for fraud and harassment. The irony still makes me smile. She busted into my cabin, thinking she'd corner me with her clipboard and fake rules. Instead, she walked straight into the one person in the state who could dismantle her entire empire. And dismantle it, he did. Now, when I sit on the porch of my lake cabin, coffee in hand, I look across the water and feel something I hadn't in years. True peace. No fines, no threats, no Karen. The takeaway is simple. Power built on intimidation crumbles the moment it meets real authority. Karen thought she was untouchable, but the law has a way of finding its way to the truth, sometimes in the most unexpected places. And in this case, justice arrived at my cabin door, right on time.